So I've been watching like a lot, of YouTube lately. It's crazy. I've like really become obsessed with it. But I'm scrolling, you hit the scroll, and I came up to something that was like the title of the video was like I'm done. And this is no shade to the person whose video that was. I didn't even watch it. So, but it was like, I'm done, I'm leaving or something. It was like, step parenting is harder than parenting. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because I am in a blended family, and we're both step parents. So I decided that I wanted to talk about this. This subject, because I feel like it's a subject that is never talked about, and there are a lot of people in that situation. Essentially, once you become a certain age and you get married, you're most likely going to become a step parent. Like, people are starting families younger and younger. I mean, I had my son at 17, so if I was ever to get married, which I am, my husband would be a step parent. So who am I to say that I have a problem with it? So I don't know. I just feel like it is a conversation that it needs to be had. It's about time to be had. So if you're interested in just hear my thoughts on that topic, and then not only just that, just how to overcome the struggles that are associated with blending your family, then keep watching. My family is blended. My husband actually has an adult son who doesn't live with us, and we have a preteen that lives with us, and then I had a teenager and freaking Dylan, our busy elementary school son. So our family is very blended. We don't have any children together. We just are raising, the children that we brought into this marriage. And I do have to say that step parenting is hard, but it's not hard for the reasons that you might think. It's difficult because there's a lot of moving pieces. You have the child, the spouse that you're with, the other parents, and then whatever morals and guidelines that have been established before you came around. Like, say in our household, I'm very strict. I'm a strict parent. Like, I am. Like, you have a bedtime, you have chores, you eat vegetables, you have to get a certain GPA in school. I am that type of parent, and not everyone is. So you have to kind of find this common ground of what is going to work for your family and what is not. And I really don't want to dwell on the idea that step parenting is hard, because I think that anything worth having is worth fighting for. And if you love that person, you love that family that you guys have created, then you're going to get over the humps. You're going to get over, the growing pains of your family, because that's essentially all it is. All it is growing pains. Your family has grown exponentially in a short time frame, and you guys have to figure out how to dance, how to partner up, what is going to work for you guys. And a huge thing that has worked for us is not really worried about what other people have to say. And y'all know me, I didn't care about what other people have to say. Like, I just want my little family to be good. I want to figure out what works for us. And that's something that my husband and I have been really adamant about doing, figuring out what works for us. And it's difficult. We have arguments, we have disagreements. We have disagreements about things, but that's just us finding our way. That's just us figuring out what works for our family as a whole. Because you have to think, marriage is two individuals who have completely different lives, completely different everything, finding that middle ground and coming together. So he's bringing his experiences, I'm bringing my experiences, we're bringing our little kitties along with us, and we're going to figure out this new tradition of what our family looks like. So that's the biggest thing, is just having that communication with your spouse and you guys figuring out how you want to parent your children. How I parented my children prior to being married is different than how I parent my children now. And when I say my children, I mean all of our children. I don't split them up. His, mine. No, they are all our children. So the biggest thing is just having that communication open. And like something that we do is if one of the children get in trouble, it doesn't matter what child it is, we talk about it. If he's not here, if I'm not here, the parent that disciplined, we have a conversation. It's like, hey, this happened today. And it's not looking for approval. It's kind of just keeping that other person in the loop, because kids are sneaky. They'll play mom against dad. So we just have that conversation. Hey, this happens, and then this was the result of what happens, he'll send me high fives and get him babe and all that, and it doesn't matter whose loins the child came from. They're all our children, and they're all treated the same. So that communication and just keeping each other in the loop. And when there are things that come up that one of us doesn't agree with, we're very vocal about it. We talk about it. We say, hey, so I don't think I like that. We try not to argue in front of the kids. Sometimes I just get a little in my feelings, and I do. Not gonna say I'm perfect, but we try to keep that conversation behind closed doors and figure it out amongst ourselves. So another thing that works with blending your family is keeping the communication open with the children. So you have to think, this is new for them. This is a different life for them. Yes, mom is happy. Yes, dad is happy. But do I really want to be here? Do I really like this person? Do I really want them in my life? And there is this this silent loyalty to the other parent. If I like him, if I like her, am I being disloyal to my mom or my dad? You have to think, kids are very loyal. So if I like her or like him or am nice to them or respect them, or just like being here and not there, am I being disloyal to my other parent? And that is something that the kids have to work out on their own. And it takes all the parents, reminding them that no one is replacing anyone. All it is added family, added people who love you, added security, added bonus to your life. But you have to have that communication open with them. So, prime example, my kids, 13, 14 years, 7 years to the little one, they know me. They know what I like. They know how I like things cleaned. They know, what buttons to press for me. They know what, I don't like, in the same way for my husband. His son knows what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he's going to do, how to press his buttons, how to get his way. Kids learn their parents. And for me, a big thing is communication with them. So if I don't like something, if you have a chore and you're not doing it, I'm going to show you how to do it. Because this is all new. My expectations aren't everyone's expectations, and vice versa. So you have to communicate. You have to not expect them to know what you want because your kids know what you want, because these kids don't know you. They're getting to know you. So you have to, give them the benefit of the doubt and talk to them and let them know. So I have cleaned the bathroom to show how I like it clean. Chores, definitely. Homework, school grades, we have in-depth conversations about them. Or things like curfew. Yeah, you have curfew, and I am one for, in the moment, having that conversation. So, that's just honestly how it's worked best for me. And you have to expect some friction, especially if there's a child that they're not used to rules or expectations for grades or anything, because they were living in a different household and now they're living in yours, and it's just not the same. Your expectations are different. You have to expect there to be some friction, some them to be a little bit uncomfortable, and that's okay too. We've had our share of battles for who was gonna win, and the parents if they're consistent and if they're coming from a good place, they always win. But at the end of the day, you have to expect, them to come in right at curfew or after, just to see if you're gonna, say something or do something, or for them to let their grades drop a little bit just to see if you're gonna address it, or just different things. Kids are gonna test you, and it's not necessarily just the added child, but any of the children. My loin children, they test me. But it's just normal, and you have to expect that, and you cannot snap or make the children feel unwanted, or anything like that. Like, these are kids. It doesn't matter if they didn't come from your body. These are still kids that you are here to love and nurture and help become good humans, in the end. So you have to put in that work. It's hard work, the same way that marriage is hard work. Creating that blended family is hard work too, but it's worth it. And if you go into it with a good just a good head, and sometimes it becomes a lot, and I have conversations with my husband, and I'm just like, babe, this is a lot, I don't think he likes me, like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And that relationship with your partner, it reassures you that, hey, just keep being yourself, just keep doing your thing. You love him, you love them, they love you, so just you got this. It'll be okay. With time, everything will be okay. Now, if your partner's on a whole nother thing and they're going against you and not really creating that boundary when it comes to you, and I'm saying this to you as if it's in the first person, but my husband is a stepdad, and he's an amazing stepdad. So it's not just the woman that I'm talking about. We come up with this idea that it's okay for us to bring children in, but it's not okay for him. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, my husband is a stepdad, and men are not as vocal as we are, but I have gone for work multiple times and left my son. My husband has had our son all summer. Like, we made the decision not to do summer camp, and he had him all summer, and just been an amazing experience just watching them grow and evolve. So yeah, he's a stepdad. So it's not just when I say me or we or whatever, I'm not just talking about the female, I'm talking about in general. Everyone has their process of figuring out how to make it work, and we can't undermine what the husband is doing, maybe because your children are younger or more receptive. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. He's going through the same experience that you are. It's just at a different level, right? So you guys have to be on the same page. You guys have to support one another. You have to be open and have that communication and really set boundaries for the kids. If my son, who I birthed, I'm trying not to break him up, but for the sake of this video, I will, disrespects my husband, it's up to me to set that in line, to get that straight. So I told my son, before we even all moved together, I probably saw something on TV, and I was like, if you ever disrespect Octavius, it's going to be me and you. And he was like, Mom, I'm not even disrespectful. I said, no, you're not. But at one point, you will be 16, and I'm just letting you know before you try this, you not my dad stuff. Go ahead and get in the line now. And we had that conversation. So it's worth it for that parent, that biological parent, to make sure that they check their child when it comes to that. Because if my husband allowed his son, our middle son, to disrespect me, then it would be friction between my son and I. It would be friction between my husband and I, and the dynamic would be completely different. But it's not that way. It is just all love. And even when we have our battles, he kind of stepped back and allow me and our son to figure it out, our yin and yang. And now, we're good. It did come with time. There were times when I was very discouraged, times when I was very sad, and I didn't know if things would change, and I just felt like he didn't like me, and I wasn't willing to change how I raise the children, because kids do need boundaries. But it was difficult. And I'm just being candid, it was difficult. But now that we've gone through a whole school year and we've been living together for a while, it's changed. Things are nice, and I mean, the summer is just like for everyone, that woo-side. The kids, I didn't make them do chores. They just got to enjoy their time off. So we'll see if things change again when we go back into the school year, but I don't think so. We've established that relationship. We have that love for one another. And granted, I love him as if he's my child, but kids do have that loyalty to their other parent, and it's harder for them to get on board, especially if they've kind of been in a situation before, because my husband was married before. So it's hard for the kids to get on board, but once they're on board, it's unconditional and things are like way, way, way better. So depending on what stage you're in, just stick it out. Just try not to make the child feel different. Treat them all the same. I fuss at all of them the same. I love and make all of them laugh the same, but I do, when it's time to discipline, I am going to have a long, drawn-out conversation with you, the same way I have a long, drawn-out conversation with all the other kids. I choose to love my children all the same and treat them all the same, and that's difficult at times because some of them are used to it and have, been going this for years and years, and some of them, this is new, so it's like, bruh, what in the world? You get on my nerves. You'll get used to it too. So, but it's worth it, guys. Just be honest with your spouse. Communicate with them. Don't disrespect the children. And don't say you're done. Don't say you're done, because whatever you put on the internet, it's not going away. You can delete it, but it's never going to go away. And at some point, you might have a relationship with that child. It might evolve into something. And then they're going to see that you say you were done with them. Like, don't do, they're kids. Like, they're kids. They're very emotional. They're trying to figure it out. Puberty is setting in. Like, things are crazy. So don't say you're done with these children. Put in the work, because you're the adult, and figure it out. I am glad that my husband has sons. I am super glad. So you guys out there with daughters, but I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling, but this was a very interesting subject, and I've never seen it like that. Like, I know that being a step parent is pretty difficult, but I just don't know if I would ever walk away from my family because I had trouble adjusting. So I love my blended family, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And even when it's difficult, we're figuring it out, it's still worth it. So you guys just got to put in the work. Be yourself. Allow the children to love you. If you love them, love wins every time. So if you love them and make them feel loved, eventually they'll come around. And you have to give them that space to come around. You can't force it. So hopefully this helps someone out there. Or if not, it just helped me. But thanks guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, bye.